All
Dude,
right.
Josh, that was so great. So, dear listeners, like we're talking about, okay, we got to talk about this, we got to talk about this, we got to talk about this, and just before we're muted, so that our trailer music can go on, and Josh is like, oh, by the way, and fiat currency is lying, not going to be around this longer anymore.
That's right. Exactly.
You just kind of slip that in there.
Welcome to the Think and Grow with Real Estate Show with Judah Hoover and myself, Josh Weidman. We really appreciate everybody being here today. Dude, there's we're going to talk about some quick news points. Go ahead. Tell them what you were talking
about. Before we talk about quick news points, right off the top, who the heck are you, Josh, and why should people listen to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been investing in real estate. My name is Josh Weidman. I am the owner and operator of a Hard Money Bankers branch here in central Pennsylvania. We lend to real estate investors who are looking for money to fund their deals. If you got a project that you're looking to have funded, you can reach out to me. My phone number is right here, 717-213-8488, or shoot me an email at josh@hardmoneybankers.com. We can underwrite your loan and get you approved on the same day that you reach out to us. And once you're approved, we got the paperwork. We can close within 24 hours, so long as title is clear. Judah, your turn.
So, Judah Hoover here. I am 40 years old. I bought my first rental property when I was like 22. I've been a full-time real estate investor, full-time servicer of the real estate industry since then. I'm a licensed realtor. So I would love to be a realtor, not only for any and all investment properties that you're working on, but any primary residences or friends or family residences as well. You can definitely give me a call. Very few people have been involved in more real estate transactions in central Pennsylvania than I have.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this is the Build and Grow with Real Estate show, and we have this every day at noon. We talk a little bit about the news, talk a little bit about education, actually delve into education 3 days a week. Typically on Thursdays, we'll bring in somebody in the local community that's really kicking butt in their industry and, talk to them about how their real estate investments are going. And then Fridays, we dig into the news. So, if you take value out of the show, if you like what you're seeing, like and share the link here. And
also participate. If you've got a question, you've got a comment, don't be afraid to live tweet at us during the show. If we're not on Twitter, does it still count as live tweeting? Like whenever there's comments going on during something, I'm like, oh, they're live tweeting that. I mean, that's kind of like Kleenex or Band-Aid. You know what I mean? It's like,
listen, before Trump, shuts down Twitter here, we're going to use it in every way that we can. What's up,
I gotta tell you, that's definitely scary stuff. Hey, so news on the day is Airbnb told Bloomberg bigger numbers than this time last year. So everyone 2 months ago was predicting the death of Airbnb, and I was like, I don't know, I'm still seeing strong. I think that it might be regional or it might be in some different places, but I got to tell you, I'm seeing a whole lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
and that's making me think that it's going to be around for a while. And Airbnb is back with a vengeance, because who wants to stay in hotels?
Well, of course. And even if you want to stay in hotels, like, are they open yet?
Right.
I mean, I know some of them are, but like, who wants to have 50 people on your floor in the hotel?
But here's what's crazy about this, though. Like, and I manage Airbnbs for people, and I would love to manage your Airbnb, dear listener. But I know that a hotel is a commercial operation and can get harsher chemicals to clean their, stuff than me, with just a cleaning girl can get, because basically we use household things when we clean our properties. So it's amazing to me. I think the standard of clean is actually probably higher at a hotel. Nothing against what we do, but it's crowding.
Is that your third full-time job, cleaning girl?
Cleaning girl is my fourth full-time job.
Got it.
No,
awesome.
I actually don't clean our Airbnbs, but I am. For a while, I was there at every single checkout just to make sure and kind of walk the property quickly with the cleaner, just to make sure. It's just all part of the hands-on service you get when you hire Judah Hoover to do anything in the real estate world.
Judah Hoover service. I love it. So I'm going to be the eternal optimist here. like there's news coming in all over the place about the destruction of our fiat currency. I mean, if you don't know what the fiat currency is, essentially this is a currency that's not backed by anything but the faith of the people that are using it. And because right now I think we're at like 17.4% of our GDP, that's our budget overage.
Exactly.
That's our debt. People are getting a little nervous. The full faith in
I've not heard this, Josh. So you're gonna have to share with me some links. Everything that I've heard recently has been the sun is out, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you. We are recovering. The protests are subsiding because there's been mostly uniformity in the buy-in of the message. The stock market is approaching crossing over to positive territory for the year. The S&P and NASDAQ are already there. I talked to a realtor this morning who is in the top 10 realtors in Lancaster County and has been every year for the past several years. And he's like, I just can't believe how hot the market is right now. So I see all this positive news out there, and you want to come in and harsh my mellow with
look, I gotta be
the collapse. I see how it is.
I've got to be an optimist to a certain extent. I still am concerned. Look, coming into 2020, I was betting, literally, like with my cash, I was betting that we were in for a market downturn towards the end of this year.
Right.
After the election, I thought that whether Trump won or Biden was a winner of the election, there would be an adverse reaction in the markets, and it would lead to a market downturn just because it's about that time. Well, here comes COVID, and it's like it's like 2008 on steroids. And look, I've been pretty amazed. In 3 months, we've gone from amazing economy, crashing economy, to now like this is the highest housing numbers ever. The employment seems to be rallying. Airbnb is back on track. People that were begging to sell their properties a month ago are now getting booked, and we seem to be going back to a new normal. And you know what, man? I'm starting to become a believer. Like my outlook's changing, and my investment strategies are changing.
Are you gonna break into Imagine Dragons? You make me a believer.
We got an overlay with dragons flying across the screen.
Right, exactly.
Tomorrow.
Hey, so let's get into content, my friend. I think that's basically all we had for news. Listen. Most of the content that Josh and I present to you is stolen or appropriated or reworked and spit back out. These are things that I have come up with from 20 years of being a local real estate investor and mentoring and helping other people be real estate investors. So this is some of the most original content to Judah Hoover. We started going through these yesterday. We're going to quickly just review that. First thing first is, so these are the first 10 things to avoid. Everyone talks to you about what you should do your first 30 days. We're covering the 10 things you need to avoid so you don't look like a newbie and so you get off to a great start.
Sure.
First and foremost,
don't set up an LLC until you do 3 or 4 of your own deals.
Right. Do 3 or 4 of your own deals. Don't set up an LLC. You're going to get distracted on all that stuff. Don't tell people you're a newbie. When you stand up at investment clubs, don't say my wife and I are looking for our first property, or we're still looking around, or we're thinking about getting into this. Just straight up, don't tell people you're a newbie. Don't lie to them and tell them you've done 18 deals if you haven't, or don't tell them you've done any deals if you haven't, but don't tell them your number is 0.
Right. Exactly. Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Correct.
All right. Number 3, don't be surprised at the words that fall out of your mouth. Learn your 30-second elevator pitch. Learn your phone script. Learn your sales pitch. Right? Like, don't be surprised.
Absolutely.
Make sure you're ready to roll.
Absolutely. Yep. Know what you're going to say before you say it. And you won't know what you're going to say when you first start saying it, but you're going to get better.
Yep, that's exactly right. I think this is did we cover this yesterday?
No.
All right. So, rule number 4, don't get sidetracked by education.
Josh, you see this all the time, and I see this all the time.
Yep. I mean, how many people do you know that started in your meetup when you were 23 or whenever the heck you started it, right? They came and they introduced themselves as the newbie that's never done a deal.
Right.
And now fast forward 20 years later or 18 years later, and they come to the meetup and they know every single way to do a deal except to do it.
Right. Yep.
Right.
Education is one of those things that without implementation, without taking action, is just entertainment. And there's a lot of people who they want to feel like they're going to be a real estate investor one day. They're down on their job, they're down on their life, they're down on whatever their situation is that makes them want more, and that's why they're getting into real estate. But just the thought of doing real estate and educating themselves about real estate is safer than actually taking action.
Yep.
And so they take the safe route, and it also scratches the itch to make them feel like their life is eventually going to be better. They understand that they're in the long haul. But what people forget is if you have goals that you want to accomplish 5 years from now, if you have goals you want to accomplish 5 years from now, it doesn't matter if you waste an extra day or two reading a book when you shouldn't have, or waste a couple extra days listening to a podcast, or it takes you a week longer to get started because you're going to wait until after seminar. There's a seminar coming up. It's the beginning of June. There's this seminar coming up the end of July. After that seminar, man, I'm going to really take action. Well, I'm taking family vacation in August. And after that, I'm really gonna take action. Well, I just got to get the kids back to school, and once the kids are back to school and kind of settled in, then I'm really gonna take action.
Well, so what's really interesting? We track numbers. I'm sure Slate House Group does, but Hard Money Bankers, we track numbers. Like how many leads are we getting? How many of those leads turn into applications, turn into loans, so on and so forth. And it always seems to track that 90 days from now, the stuff that I do today, I see results from 90 days from now. And you know what? You're sitting here and it's like, man, I've been on the other side of this where it's like, I need this to work now. Like right. I need something that's going to work right now. So I'm going to skip over that stuff that's 90 days down the road. But guess what? 90 days is going to be here soon. Like you got to get started right now. And the education is important, no question. But I mean, go ahead. If you want to jump into this EVE ratio, I think this is really, really excellent.
Well, yeah. So the EVE ratio is the
education versus entertainment.
Education right? versus entertainment ratio. And man, I forgot that was in there. And you need to stop and think about how much time you are spending on your education versus your versus your entertainment. And here's the worst part about it is, so a lot of people say, well, how much time am I looking at Netflix versus how much time am I reading a good book that's going to actually change my mind or teach me skills?
Yeah,
I would say if you are not taking action in real estate, you need to look at all real estate education simply as entertainment.
Yeah, I mean,
so usually people say that a 5-to-1 or better is good. So rich people have a 5-to-1 the other way. So if you watch Netflix for 5 hours and you read a book for an hour, most people would say you're like better than 80% of the people out there. Rich people do it the exact opposite way. They educate themselves for 5 hours. For every 1 hour they spend on entertainment. I just think that it is very, very, very important that you understand if you are not taking action in your real estate career, if you're not walking properties and writing offers and lining up financing, if you're not actually writing offers, then everything you're doing is just entertainment.
And you know what? There are a lot of courses out there that you can buy for, probably $197 for the small little course. And it goes up. I mean, I know that Fortune Builders, they have a $75,000 program.
Right.
Well, the information that they teach in these special courses, it's no different than the information you can find on YouTube. You know what the difference is? If you're paying $75,000 for it, it's likely you're going to do something with it. And,
right.
And you know what? You probably have the financial resources to be able to invest in marketing, to do some of the other stuff. But like all the data that you need, all the information that you need to do those deals, it's right there on YouTube, and you don't have to go too deep. I always like the anytime that I'm working with somebody, I've done coaching courses and stuff like that in the past, and worked one-on-one as a mentor. And like the thing that I always try to stress is like, just learn enough. You don't need to know everything. And in fact, if you know everything, it's just going to be a distraction. Learn enough to generate one lead. And like once you get one lead, then you can scale that. And then you learn enough to do one contract and then scale that. And like it's just step by step by step. You don't have to know the whole course to be able to start making money in real estate.
Right.
And
so the last point that I'm going to make on this, and then we can move on, is you need to look at education in real estate as escapism. The reason people do drugs, the people they drink alcohol, the reason they, hire prostitutes, the reason they watch and veg out on TV is they're trying to mentally get to a position of escapism. And if you are just learning about real estate investing, all it really is for you is escapism, to escape your reality. You are daydreaming about being a real estate investor without actually taking action. Do not participate in escapism.
Yeah, I want to share a little bit of a success story. Taz hit me up on Friday, and he's like, "Look, man, I was inspired by the stuff we were talking about with marketing and all that." And he's like, I got myself a list and I had it skip traced. And he's like, "I've been making these phone calls and nobody's picking up the phone." That's perfect. That's a perfect starting point. It's like, okay, I did the first couple steps, and then I got to a stopping point, and he reached out to me. I gave him a little script that, I hope it's working for you, Taz. I don't know if it is or not, but it sounds like
his phone's ringing. So, they must be leaving good messages and they're calling him back.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I love it. All right. So, all right. Don't get sidetracked on education. Boom. Next one, hand in hand with education. Go for it, Judah.
Don't get your real estate license. Here's the thing. When you are a new real estate investor, you are going to say a whole bunch of dumb, stupid things. And when realtors say dumb, stupid things, they get sued or fined. Yeah. And you don't want to learn a lot of these lessons the hard way. When you are a realtor, it is automatically assumed that you are an expert. I've done many real estate deals because I said, gee, shucks, golly, I don't know. Well, would it be okay if we did this instead of that? Do you think that might work out? Sometimes you don't come across as a super aggressive expert. Sometimes you want to slow play a situation. And that really works a whole lot better for building rapport. If you're a realtor, you also have to disclose that you're a realtor. And that right there in and of itself can put some motivated sellers, guard up. I think that not getting your real estate license is critical, because the other thing is, the only reason why people want to be a realtor, hopefully it's not for the education. Good golly, do they not teach you what you need to know? So when you want to become a realtor, people are like, well, I want access to the MLS so I can look for comps. In the day of Zillow and all of these other different comp websites that there are out there, and I can't think of any others right now. I'm sorry that I'm only thinking of Zillow right now. There are a lot of great websites to pull comps from. Also, you should be networking with realtors to meet them, and that's how you can get all of that MLS access.
Yeah. So the other thing to consider here is that if you want to be a real estate agent, you should get your license. But it's a different business than being a real estate investor. And you know what? There are times when maybe you do want to get your license. But when you're just getting started, being a realtor versus being a real estate investor are two completely separate and different career paths. And so you got to keep that in mind. If you get your license, your broker is going to teach you how to be an agent.
It's also expensive.
Yeah, it is.
I was just last night bouncing my checkbook, seeing, blah, blah, blah. How much am I putting into savings for this month? And, what am I doing? And I should have done that earlier in June, but, and I'm like, geez, I'm like $400. I have like less money in here than like what I mentally thought that I should. And it's because my MLS dues came out.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, it's like it costs money to be a realtor. It doesn't
Right.
cost you money to be a real estate investor.
Right.
It costs money to get your license. It costs
Whatever.
money to keep your license. It's just avoid it.
Yeah. All right. So that's enough of that one. Um, this is a huge pet peeve of mine. In
Oh,
fact, this is like a red flag from the very beginning when I'm the CEO. My name's Josh Weidman. I'm the CEO and president of Weidman Enterprises. You
right,
know, and like, look, let's talk about what a CEO is
right.
in real life terms. If your job is to set the vision of the company, and that is your entire job, you're the CEO. No question at all. If you are the president of the company, if you're in charge of the organization and implementation of that focus and vision, and that's your only job, you're the president. But most of us are business owners. Like, we do a whole heck of a lot of stuff. We might set the vision, we might implement our team, but we're also doing stuff like running material to job sites and making sure that our contractors are on site and harassing this guy because he's 2 hours late when the house is supposed to be clean, and fretting that the agent's going to come in that's listing our flip, and that the house is not going to be ready for the open house, and like all of these juggling balls in the air. Like, admit who you are. Like, look, you don't even have to put a title on your business card. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm trying to think if there's one on mine. No, no. My Slate House business card doesn't even say doesn't even have vice president on it. I've thought long and hard about potentially getting business cards that just have my name on the front with the telephone number, and then on the back the phrase anything, anytime, just because that's one of the catchphrases I use. So Judah Hoover, my telephone number, and then on the back anything, anytime, just black. Keep it as simple as possible and straight up. There's a whole lot of don't call yourself a CEO, don't have a fake CEO mentality, don't call your company something enterprises. Don't pretend to be a whole lot bigger than you are. Have confidence, but not like machismo, if that makes sense.
right.
There's a difference between being assertive and aggressive. And guys struggle with this a lot because there's a difference in what you want to do is you want to be assertive in life without being aggressive. You don't want to be passive, but you want to be assertive without being aggressive. And when you call yourself a CEO of a one-man shop, it's just pathetic. When you call yourself the president of a one-man shop, or even if there's two or three of you, if you still call yourself a president, just nobody's impressed.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And you know what? You know what's amazing? If you take the other route, and it's always about, oh, my boss this and my boss that and this and that. And then people start asking you questions and they realize how knowledgeable you are and how smart you are and how insightful you are. All of a sudden, your value goes from like, oh, okay, I have no problem talking to this guy who's an employee, to like, oh my gosh, this guy is like, he's so much more. You're adding value to the transaction, you're adding value to the conversation, and people don't come into it with a preconceived notion. That's
Dude,
it.
so you want a funny story here, Josh?
Tell me.
So I when I first started in the hard money business,
Yep.
first I worked for somebody. I worked for Bruce, who you know, and Bruce and I eventually built a hard money business. But my first job was as in the hard money world was going out and getting loans, just like I'd done in the real estate world, in the residential world and commercial world, and giving them to Bruce. And Bruce told me, hey, Judah, this is a fund that we run, and the loan committee meets every Wednesday night. So you've got to have me a package together on Tuesday nights. I worked for the guy, and I thought there was an actual loan committee that met there at the office or someplace else, and they reviewed these files. It was literally Bruce in his hot tub in his backyard smoking a cigar, trying not to get water on the paperwork.
That's
He
hilarious.
was loan committee, but he
Yeah.
never. But so like you actually get more by by being somewhat mysterious on what your title is. Taz says here, I wouldn't want anybody to know, them, the owner, blah, 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 if I made a mistake. I completely agree. I used to call myself the assistant property manager on properties that I owned. Because if the tenant wanted an answer on something, I was going to have to talk to the property manager, and the property manager was going to have to talk to the owner. That's something I learned from Jeffrey Taylor. I got to go up 2 levels to get a decision here. Listen,
Yep.
I'm on your side. I agree with you, but I'm just the assistant property manager.
Right. It's a good call. Really good call. All right. So don't call yourself a CEO or president.
Yeah.
Next, don't demand a discount from every potential vendor. This drives me crazy. I've made this mistake. If you want to turn off potential vendors, especially contractors, like this is the easiest one to do, right?
They come walking in your office, peacocking around, acting like a big wig. Josh, I don't know if you know this or not about me, but I'm going to do 18 deals this month, and we just graduated from blah, 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 blah seminar. So we already have all the paperwork put together. They don't know that every seminar you buys, comes with paperwork and stuff, and a proprietary marketing system. So I know you usually charge 5 points for your hard money loans, but what are you going to charge me? Because I'm going to do 18 deals, and I'm shopping around to find a hard money lender who's going to work with me the best before I commit to one to work with.
Oh yeah, I've had this conversation before.
I go like this.
And by the way, we have 5 points, but that I've had this conversation with contractors, and they've acquiesced sometimes. I mean, even when I was doing 100 deals a year, I've had this conversation with contractors, and especially with contractors, they have a tendency to agree. Okay, no problem. You know what you get when you have a contractor that you work with over and over and over again who continually gives you a better and better and better deal? You have a humongous liability. There's a bomb waiting at the end of that relationship 100% of the time. Because if they can't make a profit consistently on your projects, they are going to steal from you, and not because they want to. Yeah, because they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're putting all the liability on them, and at the end of the day, boom, the whole thing explodes, and they can't bail you out.
What did Shakespeare? Was it Romeo and Juliet? Tempt not a desperate man. Don't. If you back a rat into a corner and the rat bites you, it's your fault. So you want everyone to be profitable. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to burn through good contractors who aren't going to want to work with you, aren't going to be able to work with you. And listen, sometimes the reason they're contractors is they don't know their numbers as well as they should. So don't be a jerk and try and beat people up. And also don't beat people up so much that they can't make money doing business with you. Everybody plays, everybody wins.
What exactly?
My sister just got on here, and her and I, we get along on a whole lot. But the one thing that we fight about was whether I taught that to her or she taught that to me. But it's one of our favorite sayings is everybody plays, everybody wins.
Right. And it's true. Now, I'm going to put a big asterisk on this conversation as well. I'm not saying never ask for a discount.
100% agree.
Right. But what I'm saying is don't ask for a discount before you do business with somebody, number one. Number two, don't ask for a discount before you know the value of what you're asking a discount on.
Don't ask for a discount before I even say negotiate on the first deal. But don't say, Josh, how much of a discount are you going to give me on your first hard money loan? Like, have Josh come, like apply for the loan, get the term sheet, and then say, hey, listen, instead of 14%, can we do 13.5? Don't say right out of the gate before you even have a term sheet or applied or approved loan.
Right.
That's what frustrates me is when people negotiate before they even know what the price is. And it actually signals weakness. It actually signals that you don't know how to negotiate.
That's right. And okay, so last point here is, look, there's going to be times when you need help. We all know it. There's going to be that project that was tight to begin with that you thought you could get done, and then you open it up and realize, oh my goodness, there's termite damage in this back wall and we got to reframe it. Those things are going to happen. So if you beat that contractor up on that home run deal that you got, and he's like squeaking through at the end, and like it's got to come out of his pocket for the last $20 to buy the last, screws to finish the thing up. When you have a problem, he's not going to be in a position to even help you. So you got to save up those favors for when you
Right.
really need them. I mean, and that sounds silly a little bit, saving up favors and stuff, but like it's true. Like let everybody win, like you're saying, and then if there's going to be a loss, let's share it. Help me
Yeah,
out.
I had a realtor who typically there was 2 digits in front of the comma on the check that I wrote him every month when
Yeah,
I was in the hard money business.
yeah,
One time it was $50,000, and
nice.
I said, "Gulp, can I pay half of this month and half of it the next month
Yeah,
because of foreclosures and everything else and blah 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 blah." And he said, "Yes." It's the only time I ever negotiated a bill with him. And you
yeah,
know what? It's still to this day, I can call that attorney and get attorney advice without being put on the clock. It's
right.
amazing.
Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. And those relationships, people will bend over backwards for you when you have a relationship, when you're friends. Because you are. Like that's the whole point here is build relationships with people that you can trust and that they can trust you. And then if you need some help, they're right there to help you. It's a great situation.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that about being friends, Josh, because you and I know each other from the business world, and we've gotten to be really good friends. If I think about a lot of who my really good friends are, they're people who I've made through either the real estate world or the investment world or the lending world, and just business in general.
Yeah.
People who become really good friends. So we're going to shut it down here for the day, and we are going to be back at noon tomorrow with some more great content. We've gotten through 5 of our 10 or 6 of our 10.
I think we'll do six. We'll close this out tomorrow,
Right.
and yeah. But I think this was a pretty good overview. We got 4 more to cover. Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Got some good eyes, great comments. Coming back tomorrow, we'll be giving away another book, so keep your comments coming. Again, if you enjoyed what you saw here today, like and share the video. Till tomorrow, we'll see you then.
See you, everybody.
Take